Welcome back, everybody. Today we've got a nice doubleheader of Nintendo just generally hating the people that love their games. They've brought the copy strike hammer down on a YouTube channel that makes retro game content for showing Wii U emulation in their video. For Nintendo to always go so far against emulation on older consoles, they must be really losing a lot of money to this, right? Well, as of April 2023, Nintendo shut down the Wii U eShop, which was the last way to buy older games for Nintendo products. This means that besides a few Switch All-Star bundles and remakes, according to Nintendo, the only legal way to play their older games is to buy a used console and a used copy of a game, which are both in higher demand every year as more get lost to time, even though, keep this in mind, Nintendo makes $0 on sales of used products. I also think it's insane to charge $60 for someone to buy another copy of a game they already own just to have it on the Switch. Maybe I'm missing something, but I see no reason to be so harsh on an industry that you make zero money from. The channel in question is Retro Game Corps with 550,000 subscribers, and this is their second copyright strike from Nintendo now. The first one was for a tool that lets you dump Switch games onto a PC, which is a little more controversial, and I can understand that copyright strike a little more. The second one in question here, however, was just for a device that was showing Wii U emulation gameplay. While the legality of emulation is still up in the air, a lot of cases have succeeded at this point with using the argument of if you own the game, you should be allowed to play it on whatever platform you want. If you are just downloading a ROM and playing the game, yes, that is just piracy instead of emulation. We can't watch Retro Game Corp's video at this point since it's been taken down, but from what I've gathered, he does show a physical copy of the game in most of his videos, and did do so in this case, so it's pretty crazy that Nintendo went after this video of all the emulation content they could have. If you're curious about the background gameplay in this video, it is the Ultra HD texture pack for Super Mario Sunshine running on, yes, an emulator. That's just my small way to add to the protest, and man, it looks so much better than the original game. It's crazy that this is a thing, and something that Nintendo themselves would never do. Anyways, on to topic number 2. While everyone knew Ryujink's Switch emulator probably wouldn't last that long after Nintendo had gone so aggressive against the Yuzu Switch emulator, I don't think you could have expected Nintendo's lawyers to personally visit the Ryujink's creator in his house in Brazil to make a deal to take it down. Now, let's talk about Switch emulation, since it is Nintendo's current console technically. I have a harder time justifying this one, but I think there are two really good reasons why Switch emulation should exist. The first is one that a lot of people who don't use the Switch don't know about, is Nintendo's godforsaken save system. On the Switch, the only way to get a save off of your unique device is to pay for Nintendo's monthly online service. The online monthly service includes cloud saves, which probably should be free anyways since their size is absolutely tiny, but even if you want to make the point that it is using Nintendo servers so they should be compensated for it, that's fine. The problem is that you can't access your local save on a Switch. The only way to get that save from one device to another is using the cloud save system. The other problem is Nintendo's closed ecosystem on absolutely ancient hardware. The Switch is nearing 8 years old at this point, and while it technically is a modern console like the PS5 or the Xbox Series products, it is nowhere near the same horsepower. It was weak when it came out, and comparing to current generation hardware coming out in the year 2024, the Switch is significantly weaker on processing power and graphical power than most modern cell phones. Obviously, there's an easy fix to this, and that is porting games like Sony and Microsoft have been doing for a few years now. Console manufacturers do not make a lot of money on the sale of the actual console, they bank on making the money from the games later down the line. This is exactly why we've seen Microsoft and Sony become so much more open with the way they do games now. If the majority of your money comes from game sales, giving more platforms for people to be able to buy those games on is generally a winning formula. Nintendo, though, seems like it will always be stuck in the past and try to make titles for its own consoles to be able to sell its very outdated and very weak hardware. Because of all this, I do respect Nintendo being strict on Switch ROMs going around the internet. That should not be a thing. You should have to pay for the current generation games since they're very easy to buy physical copies of. However, if someone buys a copy and then dumps it to PC to play on an emulator, that should be totally fine. Nintendo made their money and the end user gets the experience that they want. It really seems like Nintendo is never going to change at this point though. They're just stuck in their ways, and I have given up on them. I'll keep making these news videos from time to time when they do really stupid stuff. I hope you guys learned something new in this video. Hope you have a great rest of your day, and I will catch you in the next one.